The mind is the product of the past. It is the result of yesterday. And can such a mind be open to the unknown? It can only project an image, but that projection is not real. So your God is not God. It is an image of your own making, an image of your own gratification. There can be reality only when the mind understands the total process of itself and comes to an end. When the mind is completely empty, only then it is capable of receiving the unknown. The mind is not purged until it understands the content of relationship, its relationship with property, with people, unless it has established the right relationship with everything. Until it understands the whole process of conflict and relationship, the mind cannot be free. Only when the mind is totally silent, completely inactive, not projecting, when it is not seeking and is utterly still, only then that which is eternal and timeless comes into being. The question now is how to have a mind free of the past. That's the question that has been asked. How to have a mind that is so fresh that it relates with everything as if for the first time. Before we come to desires about how we want the mind to be, it is firstly important to see what the mind is like right now, as it is. Freedom from the past is more or less a demand, a dream, a desire. Sounds attractive. And it is attractive only because currently what we experience is not really freedom. What is it that we experience currently? And if what we currently experience were our natural state, then why is there this demand to be in some other state? Do you see that these are existing parallelly? One, a mind that remains burdened with its content, and secondly, the urge of the mind to be unburdened. They exist parallelly, right? And are of course related to each other. All right till here? Yes? Do these exist in all of us? Yes? A mind loaded with this and that, and the mind craving to be unloaded, light, free. Right? Patterns offer comfort. The mind thrives on reasons. The reason why patterns exist and are sticky is that they offer comfort. Comfort and security. Pattern tells you that you already know what's going to come next. If things follow a track, then things are predictable, are they not? Yes. If relationships follow a pattern, then relationships are predictable, right? So you know what's coming up next. So now you can depend on your knowledge and the pattern to give you security. And dependent we are. We are dependent on the other, which could be a person, a poem, an ideology, property, or anything else. We are dependent on the other to give us some kind of identity, a feeling that we exist. Remove the other and it appears as if a part of us has fallen off. Yes? When the sense of being depends on a lot of other things or people or thoughts, then obviously it becomes important for the mind to secure those things or people or thoughts. Do you see what is happening? That which I take myself to be depends on 10 extraneous factors. I have an urge of self-preservation. And who am I? A function of the 10 external objects. So if I want to preserve myself, what is it that I need to preserve? Correct? But objects are outside of me. I have very little control over them. It's a free-flowing world. Things can change. And I do see things changing every moment. Days come and go. Seasons come and go. Thoughts come and go. People come and go. Obviously and intuitively, I know that things do not last. That settlements fall apart. From this arises the need to have patterns. The need for security is the need for patterns. Now I do not have to contend with change. Now I already know that stuff is not going to change, or even if it's going to change along predetermined lines. You see this? Yes? So, I try to set my relationship on a track along thought out or experienced lines. I say this is how my relationship ought to be. You seeing this? In doing this, I think that I am controlling the other one. In doing this, I think that I am controlling my world. I am controlling everything that affects me, and thereby I am controlling my own destiny. I feel like a master, a lord of myself. Right? But in this, I ignore looking at myself. When you have constrained the other one to live, relate and behave in a particular way, you have also constrained yourself to live, relate and behave in a particular way. The plug and the socket, they fit into each other. Neither of them can now afford to change. The nut and the bolt, they fit with each other. Not only can the bolt not afford to change, even the nut cannot afford to change. But it thinks that it has controlled the bolt. Obviously it's nuts rather. Do you see this? Now when your entire world has been established on thought out lines, your own sense of self has been established on thought out lines, it all starts moving, at least apparently, in a secured fashion. It cannot remain secured for long, obviously. Time makes a mockery of all security. But for some time, at least superficiality, we live in the illusion that we are able to control our lives, that the great threat that time, change, death and bereavement have been kept at bay. We feel a touch of immortality. Have you all experienced that feeling of having things sorted out in life? Sorted out? Have you not felt that internal pressure, or have not received that advice to have things settled in your life? A lot of young people here, have you not received that advice to be settled? Do you see what that is? And indeed, you do settle down, and it does look comfortable. Life is not anarchic anymore. It appears as if the daily disorder has been taken care of. Now there is a routine. Now there is a settled relationship. Yes? We invest in such systems. And the deeper becomes our investment, the deeper becomes the urge to let the system continue, at least till it offers returns. You are now too deeply invested in the game to quit the game. You are in the game right till your neck. Getting it? It will obviously now not be possible to look at the world afresh. Because to look at the world afresh would mean to let the world come crashing down. Our world thrives on not being fresh. Do you see this? The world that we build thrives on being stale and predictable. One glance of newness is enough to unsettle it, and it's fragile. Doesn't have any inherent strength. You look at someone afresh, then the whole context of relationship changes. You ask a new question, obviously you will receive a new answer. You remove your masks and show what you truly are. The other person may also remove his masks and show what he truly is. And that is a danger. Your sense of self, the very I, the ego, is constituted of a particular type of objects. People with a particular face. You will not want to see people in other faces. When you think of, let's say, your father or your mother, you want to remember them as having that kind of a face, fatherly and motherly. You don't want to see other faces. Otherwise, the world starts quivering. When we think of our wife or our husband, again, what we want is a particular type of face. The other is what we are. He is equally eager to come up afresh. So when you prompt him to show his fresh face by showing your fresh face, he will eagerly lap up the offer. Initially, he may resist just out of suspicion, trying to check whether you have actually changed or are fooling him. But the moment he perceives that you are offering yourself freedom, he or she too will jump into that same freedom, because that same freedom is the cherished goal of all humanity. Now, not only have you given a glimpse of what your maskless self is, you also have to now contend with what the maskless self of the other is. Gone is security. Freedom means the other is not going to allow control over himself. Gone is the lordship that allowed you to prevail over the other. Or let me put it more accurately, the lordship that prevailed over the two of you. over the whole relationship. That's gone. Now the relationship is free because it's between two free minds. And in freedom there is always insecurity. Because freedom is not predictable. Freedom by definition flies. Are we getting this? Do we see firstly why it is important for us to keep things on track? Do you see why fathers cannot dance with sons? You see this? Or why daughters can't drink with fathers? The faces will fall off. The whole context of the relationship will become irrelevant. Now the father cannot remain fatherly, offering sage-like advice. Now the father will have to talk real. He'll have to take the daughter as a friend, and the daughter will gain rights to speak not only as a dependent, as a junior, but as a human being. You see this? And that hurts. That hurts because now you cannot tell yourself that you know. Now the son will come up with things that shock. Shock and liberate. I don't mean shock in a negative sense. Now the daughter will act in ways that liberate. Now there is no security. Now you cannot say that you already know. Now at every point, every moment, things are happening that you never thought of. Now you cannot claim that you know. The cow-like wife is dancing like a lioness. What do we know? And you don't know how to deal with a lioness. Cows you know how to tame. And you're cursing yourself. Why did I read Krishnamurti? Now see what is happening. People are saying things that they were so reluctant to say. They were reluctant to say because they were convinced that you will not be able to hear what they want to say. Now they are opening up. And when they are opening up, it's beautiful and dreadful. Dreadful because now you will have to hear all those things. So there is a lot of investment that we have in living a stale life. Freshness is not only attractive, it also exacts a heavy price. The price is the sense of security and a settled sense of who am I. Only those who are determined to pay that price will be able to live a life that has the fragrance of originality. Otherwise, there will be repetitions. The mother already knows how the daughter must live. The friend already knows how the friend must respond. We already know how the world must treat us. In living afresh, such knowledge comes apart. It has no value. Even if you keep it, it will be shown to be false again and again. You will be humbled again and again. Do you see how sarcastically we launch the jibe? You have changed. Huh? If you have known someone, been in a relationship for a while, and the fellow does not behave as per the track, immediately comes the jibe, you are no more the same, you have changed. Do you see where that is coming from? Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? Please.
Deviation from patterns.
Yes, deviation from patterns. We are sensing that he is deviating from the pattern. But why is it hurting us?
I had the image of that person.
Yes, I had an image of that person, and that person's image is no more there. And why does that hurt me?
Now I have to figure out a new way to respond.
I have to figure out a new way. And if he has changed, then my self-image too has to change. I cannot remain the same. Who was I? The one who felt respected by him. Huh? Who was I? The one who felt respected by him. Now he is no more offering me shallow respect. He is offering me his sincerity. My sense of self receives a dent. Who am I? The one who is respected by him. Now I do not feel respected by him. The moment something happens to one's self-image, it is almost like death. Are you getting this? Yes? A few things must be obvious. One, only when you are dependent on the other do you feel an urge to have a predictable and pattern-based relationship. Otherwise, that urge will not be strong. Secondly, in a pattern-based relationship, there can be no real contact. Images do not love each other. Even if there is love, it will be a shadow of love, a picture of love, not love itself. Masks can neither hug nor kiss each other. Getting? Thirdly, coming to the how-to part of the question, how to unburden oneself. One will have to forego all investment. That is what stops us. One will have to write that off one's mental books. And if you visit business holders or property holders, you know how difficult a decision it is to write off an asset. You want to cling to the hope that someday the thing will materialize. Presently it might be in court, it might be doubtful. One day it will be realized. To write it off mentally requires courage. You getting it? One will have to have the guts to live in uncertainty and the faith that whatever life brings will be wonderful, even if I do not know what life will bring. You getting it? Yes? Do you see that holding the investment as important is to hold the investor as valuable? There comes a point when you see that all that you invested itself was junk. Now can the investment have value? Can it have value? But to treat the investment as valuable is to continue as the one who was pattern based. When you see that the investment was coming from a false point and served only to reinforce that falseness, then why will you continue to treat that investment as valuable, as important? Why will you say, oh, I cannot give up because I have lots of memories? Oh, I cannot give up because I have spent 8 years in that job or in that relationship. These are our investments, right? Time, space, money, energy, memories. Oh, how can I allow her freedom? How can I now allow her to go into life and do any random thing of her own? I have invested 50 lakhs in her education. These are our investments. Oh, I look at this house and every place, every wall, everything, the chairs, the table, the bed, the books, they all remind me of you. How do I give up on it now? Memories. Memories by themselves do not clamor to be called as valuable. We assign that value to memories. Memories by themselves are just that. Memories, data. The significance that we attach to memories is provided by us. There is nothing wrong with memories. But there is something about having memories as a substitute for the living or for life itself. When you are fresh, then you do not give disproportionate value to what the old one was doing. Yes, the old one was behaving in those ways. I don't want to behave in those ways. And I remember fully well how he behaved. But do I not have the freedom to behave in a way that is more natural, peaceful, more sane, more lively? He was on a track, and every track is just a track. Call it a right track or a wrong track, nevertheless it remains a track, just that. He lived his life on a track. I respect his decisions. He might have had his reasons. Those reasons don't appeal to me anymore. Why must I continue to move on the same track? Do you see this? This will require energy. This will require courage. In some sense, because we are at this place, it is like adventure tourism. It gives you a real high. But also,
There is danger.
there is danger. Not many people would be too willing to trek along with you in dangerous areas. What you will get is the elixir of life, but you will have to pay a price. It's just that if you are not moving on a pattern, you realize that what you get is profoundly real and the price that you pay is just nothing. So you are cutting one solid deal. Yes? Remember that we all are related to each other, and we all are weighed down by this network of tracks. In this gathering, for example, if one person or a few persons breach the track, and come up afresh, they will find that they have enabled several others to win their own personal battles. It is obvious. Why will a free husband have an enslaved wife? The husband's freedom is the wife's freedom. One person changes and he induces a change in the entire world. I am not talking to you in the same way as I have already and always done. Why would you then feel compelled to keep responding to me in the usual ways? Or would you? My change is, my freedom is, and that is love. And that is love. You do not begin with changing someone else in love. You begin with changing yourself. There is no love without freedom. Love means you want the other to fly free, and that cannot happen if you are the one who is holding her captive. Not to hold her captive would require that you break away from your tendencies of the past. Do you see how all the burden of the past is a barrier against love? Do you see this? How can you let the other person be free when his freedom comes like a threat to you? Would you ever allow that? Let yourself be free and see how it changes the world. I'm not saying that that can be the primary motivation, but I'm saying this in order to refute the notion that you can change the other while remaining what you are. That is not possible. you are related to the other, and the relationship is a track. Either you both break away from that track, that pattern, or none of you do. It's not possible for just the one of you. It either happens for both or for none. Yes? Hmm?
And the perpetual discomfort that one faces in his or her relationship with somebody who is, let's say, free, is a sign that one is not free.
And is a sign that one is being invited to be free. With a free one, Anshu says, one experiences a perpetual discomfort in the relationship. That discomfort is a pull, is an invitation. The free one is coercing you, seducing you, strongly pulling you in. Birds we all are. It's impossible for one bird to not to fly when the other one does. That's the thing with being in relationship. Freedom and truth are abstractions. In real life, they come to us as personifications. When the other is a personification of freedom, then you cannot co-opt him. Freedom as a concept, freedom as an abstraction can be co-opted. You can write a thick book on freedom as per your concepts of freedom, and freedom will not come to demand an answer from you. Freedom will not come to file a lawsuit. But if there is somebody who personifies freedom, then you are in trouble. Especially if you are in a deep relationship with him. Now you cannot co-opt him. He will keep troubling you, discomforting you again and again.
This part I could not understand well.
You see, theoretically, for all of us, freedom is such a nice word, lovable word, cool word, right? Freedom. Found anybody ever cursing freedom? No. Nobody curses freedom because freedom for us easily becomes a concept. And all concepts are lifeless. You can take them, put them in your pocket, and use them as per your convenience. But when you have a living exemplar of freedom, then you cannot co-opt him. We are talking of a relationship between persons. Now you cannot co-opt that person. Now you cannot change him miraculously through thought. Our concepts are so pliable. They change as per our convenience, don't they? But the free one will not change as per our convenience. So he coerces. His field is strong. His aura is real. So there is discomfort. Now when there is such discomfort, kindly don't break up with him. That so often happens. So often it happens. Two little petty limited persons living with each other will find themselves in very little apparent conflict. They will comfortably spend a whole lifetime, grow old together and die together. It will appear as if they are having a very peaceful relationship. But when one of them wakes up, is liberated, then there are fissures in the relationship. The discomfort to the other may be so high that he may decide to walk away. Don't let that happen. And if you are the free one, then kindly do not let the other one walk away. If you are not the free one, then I implore you to not to walk away. And if you are the one who is beginning to live afresh, then just don't let the other one walk away. Give it all that you have. Don't let ego become a barrier.
Is this what happens in a master-disciple relationship?
It can happen in any relationship. It can happen quite frequently in a master-disciple relationship. But in a master-disciple relationship, you see, you are prepared. As a disciple, you are prepared that the master may come up with new things. That's what the whole ambience of that relationship is. The master is supposed to tell you new things. But it is very difficult to accept a changed one as your friend or as your consort. You will not like to see your spouse with a beaming new face, even if that new face is utterly beautiful. You will not like to learn at the feet of your husband or wife. Very few husbands, for example, who would want to touch their wife's feet. So there the tendency will be to walk away. Don't let them walk away. That is love. They'll walk away because they will feel that their ego is hurt. Obviously it is. Assuage that feeling of hurt. Bending down requires a lot of courage. Bend down. Compromise on everything except the central thing. Hold true to freedom and compromise on everything else. Give up everything else. Save that relationship. But as I said, in your effort to save that relationship, don't give up on your freedom. Otherwise, there is no point saving a dead relationship. This is the one thing and the only thing that you should not be prepared to negotiate, and that is freedom. Everything else can be given up for the sake of love. Love and freedom are one. If for the sake of love you are giving up freedom, then essentially you are giving up love itself. So don't give that up. Okay? Yes.
Relationships, in the previous session, I thought relationships was responsibility, and it's quite different from love.
In what context are you using the word responsibility?
Responsibility as in, like, if we talk about brother and sister, if we talk about husband-wife, right, it's not love, it's just responsibility that binds them, that husband and wife.
Many husbands here, many wives here. They would not readily agree to what you are saying. Is that so? Is the husband-wife relationship marked only by responsibility and not love? It's not so. And if it's so, then it's quite scary. It's not so.
Actually, my question is, if one becomes free, then the other one, if there is true love, other one should automatically become free. There should be no, and if there is any resistance, then it's a responsibility, not love.
Responsibility for whom? You're saying then the relationship is responsibility.
Yeah, for the man who has become free, or the woman who has become free.
It doesn't matter. You see, who is experiencing the relationship as responsibility? The free one? The free one will not take up useless, senseless responsibilities upon himself. If he is related, he will be related in love. Yes, it is quite possible that the other person has become so deadened by the weight of the past that he has lost all reverence, even hope for love. He is now living a very lifeless relationship in which there is only responsibility, which we better call as duty. But how does it matter? Because the real action must now happen from the side of the free one. And he is not taking the relationship as a responsibility. The other one might be taking, but the other one, by definition, is not the free one. So it is but normal that he would have forgotten love and he would be remembering only duties. But you, as the free one, know love. Love and freedom are one. When you relate to the other person, not as a duty or responsibility, but in a true sense, then you awaken something inside the other. Then you remind the other of what things can be like and what is missing from life. We have repeatedly said, your change is the other's change. Your love is the other's love. Yes?
So how to know whether we are free or not free?
You cannot really know that. Just need to have faith.
Then how do we decide that, if we are not free, then of course then we don't have the license to secure every relationship that we have and give our best and whatever to save it or to give it a taste of freedom, because we ourselves are struggling with ourselves.
Do you see you are still demanding security? Do you see you are still demanding a license of some sort, even if that license is a license given by you to yourself. You see, you still want to be certified and sure that you are doing the right thing.
Yes, that is what I really want to ask, that if we end up being harmful to someone, then how does it really play out to offer freedom? Or,
That you are harmful to the other is something that comes later. Are you firstly not harmful to yourself?
for seeking security.
In many ways. In living like you do. In relationship, you don't have to try to change the other. You don't have to boast that now you have the license to cause or impose a change. This is very violent language.
Presence is enough.
Hmm?
Presence is enough.
That's a much better way of saying. Your daily presence is enough. You will not tell him, you see, do not behave in these ways, do not think like this, do not react like that. You are offering a cup of tea to the other. And this is inducing such wonderful change. The way you hold the cup, the way you look the other in the eyes, and the way you offer the tea. You are not telling him, I am doing this in order to change you. In fact, you are not even thinking that all of this is happening with a premeditated objective.
The way you get angry.
Huh?
The way you get
The way you get angry, of course, wonderful. Even the way you get angry communicates so much to the other. And you might be getting angry just because the roof is leaking. It is not at all relevant right now who is changing whom. The issue is the leaking roof. But how you respond to the leaking roof tells so much about you to the other. Changing the other, if it becomes a thoughtful activity, then it is just like trying to enslave the other or trying to cast the other in a mold of your liking. You are saying, I want you to be like this. And what is this? An image of what you should be like. It's just so unlike love. Is love about the casting, which is rigid, or about the flight, which is free? In fact, hardly ever would it happen in relationships that you would talk of change. Real change happens very subtly, without ever becoming a subject of conscious thought. The two of you do not sit down with the agenda to discuss change. It just happens. Just happens.
It just happened with us also.
Excuse me, so there's an insect near your feet.
That's consciously you may take months to figure out that change has happened. And it doesn't matter whether you take months or years. Because anyway, bringing the real into conscious thought is not of much value. So whether or not you consciously know that change is happening, how does it matter? The real thing is happening below the surface, almost surreptitiously. All that the two of you discussed was the leaking roof.
And it was like a Gita.
And it was love. It was Gita. Huh?
We are washing.
All that the two of you did was a round of cycling together. And so much changed. You are not pointing to each other, you need to change this way, or this is not quite right. You were cycling. And so much has changed. That cycling, that togetherness ought to have a certain quality, a certain authenticity. And then things happen. Yes?
It will work on everyone, your kids, your parents, your
Yes.
friends,
In every relationship.
in every relationship. When one starts changing and sees things in different things, there might be two reactions of people around them. One person might say, one person might, again, like you said, is the presence. So one person might start seeing things as he does and starts understanding. The other person might say, you've changed a lot. So how does this difference of opinion come about? I mean, the person is the same, the one who's now evolved, he's the same. Then why is this difference of opinion among you?
How is it that important? The question is, let's say I have changed. Let's say I'm looking at the world afresh. Huh? And there are two persons related to me. One of them welcomes this new me, and the other one dislikes it. But if you are the changed one, would this question matter to you? Or does this question matter to you only till the time you have not changed? You are still on the track. Many a times you see, we have been so very harsh, rigid, untrue and violent to the other, that even when we change, the other finds it extremely difficult to believe that we have changed. People have memories, experiences. You have been giving him hell since the last 10 years. One fine morning you come up and say, I have changed, now let's fly together. You expect to be met with gratitude, with a warm hug. All you will receive is an incredulous slight. And even if, let's say, that your contribution to the other person's psyche is negligible, how does it matter? Do you love or not? That is what matters. How does it matter how he or she is responding? Do you love? Then insist. Then don't give up.
If there is a situation when in this process, and I'm not making it up, I'm telling from the real, so there are genuine efforts where a person is changing her own response, and in a very slow, arduous, long process over multiple years, the results are visible. But since we are still humans, still we can still be, in a stage of going up and down. We are not fully changed yet, and we do not fully have control on ourselves. So out of the 9 good things, there is one slip, and it just destroys
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Now here, of course, the strength of that person matters a lot. Whether that person can get up and then pick up the pieces and start all over again, another 9 good things, or that person may feel so tired and so just done with all this that he himself or she himself needs time before she can start the rise up again. How do we handle this?
There are 2 things. I'm glad that this came up. Thank you. First of all, you do well on 9 counts and then you slip on the 10th one. This slipping comes to notice only when you have done well on the 9 fronts. Then you say and regret that having done so well 9 times out of 10, I just slipped the 10th time and that allowed the whole thing to collapse. Don't take it as a failure. It only means that now at least your attention has been brought to that 10th thing. Otherwise that 10th would have remained hidden beneath the weight of the other 9. No light would have ever fallen on that 10th thing. Now even your small mistakes are getting highlighted. Now even the minor slip-ups are getting highlighted. Because even minor slip-ups are not allowed. The patient is an emergency now. The doctor has to be perfect. Even a minor error can be fatal. Yes, that's a demand upon you. But don't you see that that is also an elevation? Now you are a doctor. Now you know. Now you understand. Yes? And such failures will only help you purge yourself further. Now even the minor inconsistencies will be shown up. So you will be, in a way, compelled to correct them. This cannot be called a failure. That is one thing. Second thing, love is very obstinate. Temporarily, it may feel out of breath. Temporarily, it may feel like relaxing. But that is just the time needed to summon resources, gather energy, and get back to work. Love does not give up. It is very high on both patience and energy. And even if energy gets depleted for a while, patience never gets depleted. So it says, fine, I'll come back. And mind you, this coming back again and again need not necessarily be with hope. Hope motivates, I know. But there might be situations that are quite hopeless, where you know that probably the patient cannot be saved. Then, if your only motivator is hope, then you will start slacking on energy and application. Love is so all-potent in itself that it does not even require the support of hope. Love does not even require that sweet carrot in the future, that one day again the two of us will be back together in a sweet relationship. You may as well know that it may not happen that way ever again. And still you continue to persist. Love stories are not always fairy tales. Yes, some of the sweetest love stories are tragedies. Yet they have depth. Yet they elevate the mind. Yes? If you can dedicate your life to not to purposeful effort but to loving action, and the loving action bears no material fruit, and you continue to let yourself be applied right till your last breath with no apparent or material result, would you want to say that your life has been wasted? Would you want to say that? No results were achieved. Apparently, no results were achieved. The world refused to budge. The other refused to listen. The other went away for whatever reason. Sometimes the reason is not even mental, the reason might be physical. The other is no more. But has your loving action gone waste? If you are in love, you won't even think of this. Love does not require results. That is why it doesn't get tired down. If you require results, soon you will be tired. Yes?
Right now you just said that love keeps on coming forth even when it knows that the patient cannot be healed. Even when it knows that the patient cannot be healed. And a few minutes back you said that in a dead relationship there is no point in investing. So this seemed a little paradoxical.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that in a dead relationship there is no point in investing. I said, see that all that you have invested as a dead person holds no value. I said, see that all you have invested as a person living in pattern holds no value. It's always all about where the action is coming from. Who is investing? If you, as the insecure mind, have been investing in a relationship, then that investment holds no value. You must give it up, write it off. You anyway cannot invest too much as an insecure mind. Because you'll always be counting. You see, great investments can be made only by a purposeless mind. Because it doesn't count. So he can keep investing almost blindly. He doesn't even know how much he has invested. Lovers invest a lot and they don't even know how much they have invested in each other. A saint invests a lot in the world, keeps giving, keeps giving, keeps giving, and he has no accounts. And it's quite a quirky thing. You invest a little and you are so protective about that investment. You see, I invested a few lakhs in her, a few years in her, a few memories, a few albums, diamond ring, moments of contact and such things. And you want to recoup your investment. Yes? And it often does happen. After divorce or breakup, you want all those things back. Those were my investments, I want them back. In a real relationship, the investment is endless and you don't even know how much you have invested. And when you don't consciously know how much you have invested, you are always prepared to invest more. Because in a sense, your investment always stands at zero. Does something exist if you are not mentally keeping a record of it? So you may have invested a lifetime in somebody or in something, but you have not kept a record of it, then you have invested nothing in a conscious way. So you are still free to invest more. You are not bogged down by the weight of yesterday. You will not say, oh, yesterday I invested so much and that was already a lot, how can I now put in more? Yesterday was yesterday. Today, there is more here to give and I just want to give. Giving is my own joy. Who is counting? Yes?
So counting is very deeply rooted in my tendencies. I know that I am counting, but at the same time I was also counting, and kind of, and like tendencies, very very there. Always keep happening. Hardly, like, at times also I forget about counting.
We should not be unnecessarily harsh upon ourselves. Are you counting right now what these people might be thinking of you? So you're not always counting. You're a sweet, simple fellow. Don't unnecessarily castigate yourself. You're all right. We all are all right. We have a few tendencies accumulated from here and there. That doesn't mean that we are that. Essentially, we are all good.